Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something kind of fun. We're mastering Swedish roundabouts. Now, whether you're planning a road trip or you're just a bit of a traffic system nerd like some of us, this is definitely for you. We're going to move together from the absolute basics, the hard, non-negotiable rules of the road, all the way to the unwritten, real-world nuances that Swedish drivers use every single day to stay safe. So buckle up and let's get into it.
All right, here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the beauty of roundabouts, then move into the general rules of the ring. After that, we'll map out how to navigate your specific route, and finally, we'll dive into the infamous left indicator gray area.
So, Part 1, the beauty of roundabouts and why Sweden absolutely loves the ring.
Okay, so there are three core benefits that make these circles so much better than your standard traffic light junctions. First off, they're incredibly safe, because vehicles are physically forced to slow down to make the curve, right? And those lower speeds rarely lead to serious accidents. Second, they're just easy to understand. It's actually pretty rare to see someone go the wrong way or completely forget to give way. And third, and this is a big one for your daily commute, they create a much more even traffic flow. The circular design naturally spaces everyone out, so those annoying, endless queues you get stuck in at red lights, yeah, they're super rare here.
But to actually get all those great benefits, we all have to follow the cardinal rule: obligation. Simply put, you must give way to anyone who's already driving on the roundabout. They have the right of way, period. When it's clear and it's your turn, you always enter to the right and you drive in a strict anti-clockwise direction. That is the fundamental unbreakable law of the Swedish ring.
Moving on to Part 2, general rules of the ring and how to navigate those lanes safely.
To keep traffic flowing smoothly, we've kind of got to work together as a team out there. Here's how it generally works. First, choose the most appropriate lane for where you're going, and make sure you're strictly following the signs and road markings. If you do need to change lanes, you've got to use your indicators, and you only do it if it's completely safe and doesn't cut anyone off. Also, remember to facilitate others. Just adapt your speed to help your fellow drivers out. Oh, and here's a really interesting point. Try to position your car in the furthest right lane before you exit. It's actually not a strict legal requirement, but it's highly recommended best practice because it massively boosts safety for everyone.
Now, while that lane positioning is just a recommendation, there is one rule about exiting that is absolutely 100% non-negotiable. You must indicate right when exiting. I really cannot stress this enough. When you're leaving that circle, your right blinker needs to be on. It's a hard and fast rule. So, just mentally cement that into your brain right now, because it's the single most critical action you'll take on a roundabout.
All right, Part 3, navigating your specific route. Let's break down the step-by-step procedures.
Let's start with driving straight ahead, which usually means taking the second exit. Step 1, position your car to the right as you approach. And here's the kicker: do not indicate as you enter. Just drive on in. Step 2 is all about timing. You wait until your car is right alongside the traffic island, or whatever marker is right before your exit, and that is exactly when you start indicating right. Finally, Step 3, you safely exit. So it's a very precise, perfectly timed sequence.
Now let's compare that to turning right, so taking that very first exit right after you enter. For Step 1 here, you position your car to the right, and it's actually preferable to signal right before you even enter the roundabout. Step 2, keep to the right with that indicator blinking the whole time. And Step 3, exit the roundabout. So unlike going straight where you hold off on the blinker, when you're turning right, that signal comes on much earlier and stays on for the whole maneuver.
Okay, let's look at turning left, taking an exit further around the circle. Step 1, indicate left to show you're planning to continue around. Step 2, just like always, indicate right to show you're finally exiting. And Step 3, exit. Seems like a super simple three-step process, right? Well, hold on to your steering wheels because that very first step, indicating left, is actually surprisingly complicated.
Which brings us to Part 4, the left indicator gray area, the unwritten controversy.
So, this brings up a pretty massive question. Are there clear rules about indicating left on roundabouts? Well, the official answer is no. As we've seen, indicating right to exit is strictly policed and universally understood. But indicating left? That's officially designated as a gray area with two totally competing philosophies. There's actually a pretty stark clash here between official bureaucracy and everyday practical advice. On one side, the Swedish Transport Agency explicitly says there are no special requirements for indicating left when entering. They basically argue that since you can only physically turn right to enter and travel anti-clockwise, why would you ever indicate left?
The source material even points out that focusing on the entry direction like this is, well, kind of strange. But then, on the other side, driving schools fiercely advocate for indicating left. Why? Well, not to signal how you're entering, but to clearly signal the direction of your continued driving while you're already in the roundabout.
And honestly, this illustrates the reality on the ground perfectly. By indicating left, you're essentially shouting to the other drivers, "Hey, I'm driving around the roundabout, so don't even think about pulling out in front of me." See, theoretically, if everyone used their right indicator perfectly when exiting, a left indicator wouldn't even be needed. But human error happens. People forget to indicate right when they leave. If you're waiting to enter and you see a car coming without a blinker, you might just assume they're exiting and take a chance. If they were actually staying on, boom, collision. So indicating left is basically a defensive psychological warning. It's a way of visibly claiming your space on the ring to prevent an accident.
So mastering Swedish roundabouts really takes more than just memorizing the rulebook. It's about understanding the psychology of the people sharing the road with you. Which leaves us with this final, kind of provocative question. Next time you enter a roundabout, will you use the gray area to your advantage? Are you going to be that pragmatic driver throwing on the left blinker to protect your space? Hopefully this explainer gave you the clarity to navigate those circles safely and confidently. Thanks so much for joining me to unpack this one. Stay curious, stay safe out there, and keep learning.